In the 9th century, the Frankish kingdoms faced a terrifying new threat. Long ships filled with Norse warriors began appearing on their coasts and rivers. These raiders sought plunder and tribute. The Frankish realm, weakened by internal strife, was vulnerable. Its vast river systems offered highways deep into the heartland. Paris, a growing settlement on the Seine, lay directly in their path. Viking raids had already struck parts of ancient France. Coastal areas and river mouths were particularly susceptible. But the year 845 would see an attack on an unprecedented scale, targeting a major Frankish center. The raid of 845 was reportedly led by a chieftain named Reginharis. Some historical accounts link him to the legendary Ragnar Lodbrok, though this connection remains debated by historians. Reginharis assembled a massive fleet. Estimates vary, but chronicles suggest around 120 longships. This was a formidable force, capable of carrying thousands of warriors. Their target was the city of Paris. Situated on an island in the Seine, the Île de la Cité, Paris was strategically important. It was also known for its wealth, particularly its churches and monasteries. The Viking fleet entered the mouth of the Seine River from the English Channel. They began their journey upstream, a clear and direct route to Paris. Frankish forces attempted to intercept them along the way. A Frankish contingent met the Vikings near Rouen. The Vikings defeated this force decisively. As a grim warning to any further resistance, they reportedly hanged 111 of their captives on an island. This act of brutality spread fear throughout the region. It signaled the Vikings' determination and the scale of their power. The path to Paris was now largely open. On Easter Sunday, March 29, 845, the Viking fleet arrived outside Paris. The city's defenses were limited, primarily consisting of a bridge fort and the natural barrier of the river. King Charles the Bald, the Frankish ruler, was unable to muster a large army in time. His forces were scattered, and he chose not to risk a pitched battle against the massive Viking fleet. The Vikings landed and began to plunder the surrounding area. They targeted churches and monasteries outside the city walls. The inhabitants of Paris were trapped on the island. With no military solution readily available, Charles the Bald opted for negotiation. He offered the Vikings a large sum of silver to leave Paris and the Frankish kingdom. This payment marked the first notable instance of what would later be known as Danegeld, a tribute paid to Viking raiders in exchange for sparing settlements from plunder and securing their withdrawal. The Vikings accepted the payment. The agreed-upon sum was 7,000 Frankish pounds of silver, an enormous fortune for the time. Having received their tribute, the Vikings withdrew from Paris. They sailed back down the Seine, continuing to raid other areas on their return journey. The city of Paris was spared from direct assault and burning, but the surrounding region suffered greatly. Reginharis and his fleet returned home laden with treasure. The success of this raid demonstrated the effectiveness of large-scale riverine invasions and the profitability of demanding tribute. The 845 raid had profound consequences. It highlighted the Frankish kingdom's weakness and vulnerability to Viking attacks. It also set a dangerous precedent of paying off invaders. This first Danegeld encouraged future raids. Vikings learned that wealth could be gained not just through plunder, but also through extortion. Paris would be targeted again in the following decades. The raids spurred Frankish rulers to improve defenses. Fortifications were strengthened, and strategies for dealing with Viking incursions evolved over time. The Siege of Paris in 845 remains a pivotal event. It marked a significant escalation in Viking activity in medieval France and demonstrated their growing power and ambition on the European stage.